What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the Three Wide Podcast. Jesus Christ. What's going on, Fryman? How you been?
I'm alright. I'm alright, mate. How you been?
I've been chilling. I've been pretty good. Yesterday was my birthday. Actually, I just turned 21 years old. Feel like 16. I probably look like 16 to a lot of you, but I promise I am 21 years old. I would
I
prove
think you
it,
look
but
like
I'm
a
not going to show
blank.
you guys my ID number or my social security because I'm not trying to get scammed by you guys. So
Can you
just
show
take.
me? Can you show me the
No,
information?
you celebrated it with me, you idiot.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
um,
You're
we're
blank.
nearing closer to the start of the Formula One season with Drive to Survive out in about a month. F1 testing and F1 car reveals starting in around 2 weeks, and F1 testing in around 3 to 4 weeks. There's been a little bit of news in Formula One, and we're gonna really focus on two main points that I've seen today. And I think you have a topic to bring up as well. But the main topic I want to start with today is regarding Fernando Alonso and Aston Martin. So obviously, one of the biggest moves this season with Alonso notifying Alpine that he'll be leaving right away, and they found out right away. There's really no uh, negotiation process. It was just like, oh, I quit, by the way, which sent them into a fiasco this summer, and obviously took a deal with Aston Martin over the summer that was going to go into effect this upcoming season. And I know there's been word from Aston Martin and how good this signing of Alonso is, although a pretty expensive one because it does come with quite the F1 pedigree. I have word here that the Aston Martin 23 car, or the 2023 Challenger, is 95% different than last year's car, which is really, really good. And they said also that the Fernando Alonso also drove both this last year's car and this year's car, and was able to help make a lot of key differences in what's good for the car and what's not so good and what they should improve on in the car. So his expertise and just experience in Formula One has really helped paying off for Aston Martin as they expect a more consistent car in the top half of the grid in terms of finishing position, as they did find a lot of pace last season, but they're looking to have that sort of pace the whole season upcoming. So my question to you is, do you believe this? What do you think Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll and Aston Martin in general will stand in this upcoming 2023 season?
Um. Well, it's like we read about it earlier in the season. Aston Martin did say that when Alonso was hired for the role, he I heard a statement saying that Aston Martin would not Alonso would not be basically the focus of Aston Martin. It would obviously be more of the focus on Lance Stroll, but
Wonder
we already
why.
knew that. Yeah, we already knew that. But like they said it, apparently they're taking it this time for real. Like they're gonna
Mm.
seriously help Lance Stroll out. And unlike Vettel clearly dominating Lance Stroll in the standings and whatnot, this time apparently I heard it's gonna be completely different. That it's gonna be like literally all the focus on Lance Stroll, which is I guess good because he's not that bad. But obviously Alonso being Alonso, he's not going to let like his performance slide just because he's helping out Stroll. I think he's definitely going to be guiding Stroll just like Vettel did these years, and that this might be Alonso's last ride. Not last ride, but like last few years. Because
Mm.
I don't think, I'm sorry, but even if they make 95% changes, unless they come out swinging so hard like Williams did in like the 80s debut, I don't think that anyone's going to be fighting for any constructors or world drivers championships. Maybe for podiums this time properly, they'll be fighting for podiums and assert their domination as more than just a midfielder. But I think that definitely the they're, the new changes are going to bring about new changes, and I think there's definitely going to be something brewing at the Aston Martin.
I
But
hear that. I hear that, but to your point about it being so far on Lance, right? I think we could also say the same thing about a situation in Alpine. I don't think they wanted to quite admit it, but I feel like a lot of the focus was on Esteban Ocon because it's a French driver and a French team with French ownership.
yeah.
And we all saw how Alonso and Ocon got on, especially toward the end of this past season. but Alonso still did really, really well. I don't think
I'm not saying his performance is going to suffer. Like,
No,
I'm not saying Alonso's
I
performance is going to
don't
suffer.
think so either. But I don't think Lawrence Stroll would pay the money that he did to solely
Yeah.
focus on Lance Stroll. He could have got, and he could have hired Mick Schumacher to just focus on Lance Stroll. You know, I think the signing of Alonso is beneficial for both Stroll's development and the car in general and like their performance because, well, however we saw in USA, for example, when Stroll and Alonso did collide, Alonso Airlines was born, stock price at around $100 million for that incident. But no, in all seriousness, I'm a big fan of Lance Stroll. I believe he has a lot of pace on his day. However, his day isn't too frequent. He's not too consistent in Formula One. But when he is, he's quick. There were times he's looked quicker than four-time champion Sebastian Vettel, and that's just fact. Again, not that many times this season, but a couple of times. And I think we saw even how consistent Fernando Alonso was last season. At what, 47 years old? How old is he? Like 45?
No. He's 44.
Whoops. Well, my bad.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, he was so consistent last year.
Still big man out there.
You know, for like
to add on to what you're saying.
Wait, I'm not done. Just like how
Damn,
consistent
bro.
he was over the season, you'd always see him in like the top 6, top 7, if unless Alpine mechanical problem ensued, right? I think with that in the garage next to him will benefit Stroll greatly, but I don't think the car and the team will be solely focused on Lance Stroll.
Yeah. To add on to what you're saying, according to this, 2 to 3 years with Aston Martin and 20 million, basically 17.8 or 20 million pounds, which is basically $20 million
A year or both?
each year.
That's a lot of money spent on a 44-year-old.
Yeah, that's like 40 to 60.
And that's
Yeah,
not a
but again,
44-year-old driver.
he's still a World Drivers Champion.
And that's my point. They wouldn't spend that on somebody just to be like, oh, by the way, you're number 2. No, they're making a statement with this purchase, this hiring of a driver. But and also some controversy going around. Because F1 teams have a show car, or they might say, oh, this is our car for the new year, but bring out last year's car. Do you think Aston Martin will bring out their true challenger for 2023 this testing, or will they bring out a show car or even their last year's car just to like fool the other competitors and think, oh, Aston Martin aren't serious? Because we've seen in the past, we've seen in the past the Green Bull, the pink Mercedes, for example, and just copying other teams. You think they'll do that for a strategic purpose to get into the rivals' heads and bring out the real car for Bahrain and really smash it?
I think that they wouldn't do something like that because I think they want to put the terror in their competitors' eyes. I think they want to say like, okay, we're here not to fuck around. We're here to like actually win and do shit. Because again, they have the resources. Out of all the teams, they have really good resources. In fact, probably one of the best resources. They're like definitely on top with some of the best teams in terms of resources. They have the resources. Their driver lineup, I'm not gonna lie, might actually be better than last year's, believe it or not. Might actually be better than last year's. Because we all knew Vettel was sort of done once he hit Aston Martin. That was sort of rock bottom for him. I think he did better in his season with BMW than he did in Aston Martin. But they have the resources. They definitely have the drivers.
I believe that.
I think they're going to come out swinging this time. I think that they're going to debut a really good car with really promising pace, something like what Alpine did in 2022, because Alpine had pace. They might have had mechanical fuck-ups, but they have pace. And I think with Lawrence Stroll's very deep pockets, he's going to improve every single area. I think they're going to come out swinging. And
they said they changed 95% of last year's car, so clearly they're making
humongous changes, and they're not going to turn out to be a mockery like they were last year with the Green Bull
and with the pink Mercedes.
And the pink Mercedes. And let's get something real. Stroll had pole at Turkey 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Alonso had P2 in 2021's where was it? I forgot where. I forgot. Towards the end,
I think Stroll was top 5 in a race this year. I forgot what race as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Like P4 or P5 or
They're
something.
quick drivers. Well, we know Alonso's quick, but Stroll is a very quick driver on his day.
And let's be honest, Alonso is fucking magical on qualifying pace. I
Mhm.
mean, it's Magic Alonso, for fuck's sake. His qualifying pace is insane. And his race day pace, he has one of the best starts on the entire grid. Period. Undisputed. Like, one of the best starts on the grid. So,
This is
if
a
you
little
give
bit of a
this man
hot
a good
take,
car...
but this is gonna sound crazy. But listen to me. I think Aston Martin might have upgraded from Sebastian Vettel. But here's why. Here's why.
Upgraded Vettel?
Just hear me out. Sebastian Vettel is arguably a better driver, right, than
Yeah.
Alonso. But I think at this point in his career, as we saw with his retirement, Seb Vettel's head was somewhere else in Formula One. It was family oriented, all these other things. He was focused on a lot of Mick Schumacher, things like that, right?
Yeah.
Fernando Alonso still wants to win. He is still the most fierce competitor in the world,
Yeah.
like in Formula One on the grid,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
We've heard his numerous team radios, how he's so angry. And in Seb's team radios, he'd be like rather chill and composed, but in the past, it'd be like, "What the fuck are we doing here?" You know, things like that.
What a stupid
Like
action.
Alonso still believes he's the best driver on this grid, and he showed that in
I believe too.
or one of the best. He even showed that in Alpine how quick he was, and I just feel like in a mindset sort of like way, in a psychological like deep dive into these drivers, I think they might have upgraded from Vettel because I think Vettel's head was somewhere else in Formula One. Like he was already thinking about retirement before the season. Alonso ain't done, and I think he came here to prove that he's not done. And that's why I think they upgraded.
Yeah. Well, at least not done this year, cause
Yeah. I think he'll be done soon, surely. But
yeah.
but that's what
But
I want to say about Aston Martin. But anything else you'd like to add on that topic before we move on?
I mean, other than that, I don't think they're gonna fool their competitors. I think they're gonna show what they really got going.
Because they were
I think they're gonna make
they were
major
tied with
improvements.
Alpha for P7 in the constructors, but I see a drastic
Yeah.
increase up the ladder. What was the
I
topic
could
you
even
want?
see them opening up nicely during the
Oh,
season of
definitely.
Bahrain. I could see them opening up
Uh,
nicely. Let's just hope that if they do open up nicely, that they could have a very good progression throughout.
yeah.
And not gonna lie, despite McLaren having way better driver lineup, if McLaren doesn't get their shit together, I think Aston Martin could actually overtake them in the standings. And if Alpine starts fucking around, I think they could actually overtake them in the standings.
I
I
agree.
think Aston Martin might have a shot at P4 in the constructors.
I think it'll be a
Solid
fight. I think they'll fight for it. I think they'll fight for it for sure. But what was the topic you wanted to bring up?
I was gonna say about, obviously, who else am I gonna talk about than my boys back at Maranello? So with Vassar coming back in, I have heard from the Maranello boys that Fred Vassar is looking into firing the strategist that was responsible for the massacre of 2022, and I forgot what that guy's name is, but it doesn't even matter because he's probably not going to be there for the 2023 season. The question is, who are they going to replace him with? And there is no answer at the moment. They're not even. They're not even.
I think me and you would be a good answer, honestly. On that front.
I think I'll tell you what. I think this fucking thing, whatever this is, would probably be a better answer for the strategist. But aside from that circus shit, I think that they better start to get to it quick because this 2023 season is literally almost on its way.
It's here.
I think it's basically here. I think in the next coming weeks we are gonna definitely get to see what's going on and how Ferrari is going to respond to. But I think that Vassar, despite me not being entirely confident with the Vassar being team principal, I think that if he goes to change up the strategy department, that right there is going to be a signal saying, okay, we're doing this for real. We're going for the World Drivers' Championship. This time for real. Time for real. So that's going to be a big change. The other thing is, obviously, the Maranello boys have found humongous extra pace and have been testing their car at full power on the treadmill. So aero definitely improvements. I think wind tunnel, treadmill, wind tunnel, the same thing. I heard plus 30 horsepower, and the fact that they've been testing their engine at full power, reliability this time is not going to be an issue. Please, not going to be an issue. But yeah, definitely that's what I've heard on that side.
For me, what confirmed that Ferrari were going for the championship was the firing of Charlotte. aka Charlotte Leclerc's girlfriend. That's
Yeah,
what
really
confirmed to me
did
that
that.
he's for real, because him and Charlotte looked like they had a good relationship, but he's serious about this, and I agree with you that he will win it. I think this year will be a tough task because there's so much at stake for so many
2023, he's
different
gonna win,
drivers.
bro. I'm
But
telling you, he's gonna win. I'm telling you, he's
we'll
gonna win,
see.
bro.
We'll see. But the topic I wanted to bring up is about Williams, actually. Obviously, rookie driver Logan Sargent on their hands. But
Wait. Who's Williams?
don't say that. Williams are a historical Formula One team. You can't say that. No, you
Bro.
can't say that.
Alright, well, last year I could have made that
Oh,
pun,
well,
but I guess
yes,
this year we're
because-
gonna have to get
listen,
serious
listen,
because
listen.
Logan Sargent.
Logan Sargent is who came fourth in F2. Pretty good
Fourth or
lap to
third?
his name. What?
Fourth or third?
Fourth, I think. I think fourth.
I think third though.
I think
But it doesn't matter,
I think
third,
Port, whatever, third or fourth anyway. And Alex Albon, who's a very, very good driver, as we know. And with new leadership coming from James Vowles from Mercedes.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Mhm.
Shit.
However, I don't think they have a technical chief, but I could be wrong. But what do we see Williams doing this year? Because we saw in Monza, for example, Nick DeVries having a great result with P8, I believe, or P9, one of the two.
P8, I think.
And although Monza is a pretty slipstream and DRS related circuit, and quite different from
It's a Williams in P8. That's a Williams in P8. That's not your
Exactly.
average car.
That's
It's a
the
Williams
principle
in
right
P8.
there. So, are we going to see a deeper running Williams in the points, for example? Now that the GOAT is gone, however, but Logan
GOAT has
Sargent,
retired.
I think he might wow a couple people. And yeah, I think Williams are destined for a decent year. I mean, how much worse can it get from the last couple of years? With they basically won a world championship for somebody else's team, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, how good do you think Williams will do it this season compared to their last couple seasons?
I'm not gonna lie. Up until you reminded me of the fact that James Vowles left Mercedes, I completely forgot that Williams actually has a chance. But
A chance
as
of what?
for
A
who
chance
their
of what?
main competitors
Because
are,
they're not going to win the constructors. But
no, not unless they come out
Sixth?
swinging like. No, I think definitely a chance to be not last this time in the constructors.
Hey,
I think it could
clap
be
it up for Williams.
I think that if I think their main competitor might actually be, obviously it's gonna be Haas, but if they get their shit together, their lineup is pretty interesting. They have an American, the first time we've seen in over 20 years.
Land of the Brave.
Yeah, literally. The first time we've seen an American,
Since
a
2015.
good American in over like 40 years. A good American over 40 years.
Alexander Rossi is a decent driver, but yeah.
Nah, bro, nah. It's not it. Like a good American in over 40 years. I think the last one was like Mario Andretti.
Yeah.
That was like in the 70s. So like, bro, like we haven't had an American for over 40 years. But anyway, with a really good rookie and a and the experienced already Alex Albon, I think that Williams might even have a shot at beating Alfa Romeo if they get their shit together. Williams has dominated the 90s and 80s. I think if they get their shit together, I think James Vowles is not there to fuck around. I think he's there to really push. I think he knows what needs to be done. He's been at Mercedes. He's very well experienced, very well informed.
Point. That's the point right there. James Vowles is a winner. He's been around winning for the last couple of years, right? Like what you're saying about Vassar at Ferrari, he's been at Alfa Romeo. He's not too.
That's not winning material.
He has potential.
Sorry, it's not winning.
We know what James Vowles could do because of his time at Mercedes. He's been a winner. He knows what it takes to be a winner and a consistent winner at that.
Your attempt for the fastest lap, Valtteri.
Valtteri James, fuck off. Is that is that edited or is that real? I have a feeling
that's real. That's real. That's real.
Okay, that's
it's
what
real.
I thought. That's so
Valtteri,
funny.
this is James.
Like I'm pretty sure. I think the signing of
Vowles is the mark of like a serious turnaround. And Sargent.
I think it's a whole rebuild project, and I love that from Williams. They've realized what we had isn't working. they had George Russell, but we all knew George Russell was built for Mercedes, right? It was only a matter of time before he got that call up, right? We all knew that. Alex Albon, we don't know where he's going. He's probably going to stay at Williams, and Logan Sargent's a rookie, so he ain't going nowhere. I really like this from Williams. It's a really good rebuild project. It's a start to a new era at Williams, and I'm a big fan of it. Having a winner come down and put like a new philosophy in the team rather than Yost Capito, I think his name was, the rally.
Whatever. He was a fucking teacup, man.
The only thing I don't think they have right now is a technical chief, but I could be wrong.
Is a what?
A technical chief.
Oh, right.
But I could be wrong because they fired that person too.
You know who else doesn't have something? Alfa Romeo still doesn't have a team principal, which is like, what the fuck are they going? And it's gonna be like Valtteri. Valtteri's gonna be the team.
Where did the McLaren guy go?
I don't know.
I think he was linked to Alpha. I don't know if he went though. But anyway, yeah, I'm really excited about Williams. They might not do too much this year, like you said. They might only be rivaling Haas and maybe Alfa Romeo. But come the future, and I believe that the signing of James Vowles was one for the future and one for a project. If that's the case, Williams can be a force to be reckoned with soon, because we know what Alex Albon can do. We've seen him in a Red Bull. He was robbed of a race win not once but twice by Mr. Lewis Hamilton himself, a former colleague of James Vowles. By the way, speaking of Lewis Hamilton, he was signed to Mercedes, I believe, 9 years ago today, which is crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, how many years?
9 years ago. 2014.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you said he...
Yeah, 9 years ago.
13 he was signed. He was signed in 13. This is going to be his 10th anniversary.
Right, so 10 years.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh, that's 11 years.
It's some anniversary, but he signed to this day, whatever years ago. Crazy, right?
Damn. Yeah, that is crazy.
Anyway, back to Williams. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this signing, and I think it's one for the future. Like I said, again, Alex Albon, we know how good of a driver he is. I'm excited to see Logan Sargent in Formula One. We saw what a rookie did when he stepped into Williams, and that's get points for Williams and Nick DeVries. And I think Williams are going to be a team a force to be reckoned with in a couple of years.
I think so too. It's not like they have Mike Crack as team principal.
Isn't he at Aston Martin? We didn't talk about him.
Yeah, Mike Crack. I mean, the only thing they're missing, I've not heard of this guy, Mike Crack. I mean, aside from him having the best name in all of F1.
In all of the world. Fuck
all
F1.
Of the world.
In all of the world.
Mike Crack. I don't know. I don't think he's... I'm sorry. I don't think that he's like, you know... I think he's just there to lose the position, you know? You know, he's not, I don't know. If Vowles went to Aston Martin, that would have been some interesting shit right there. Which, technically, Lawrence Stroll could literally fire Crack and then literally get a...
Fire Crack.
He could fire Mike Crack and then literally bring in someone competent. You know?
Mike Crack did a good job, I thought. Again, managing Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll, not bad, but...
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on James Vowles at Williams?
I mean, I only have the best. I only wish the best for that team. I think it's definitely going to be a very spicy combo. I think that not just Williams and Aston Martin and McLaren, a lot of teams might be under new management, but a lot of teams are trying out some very spicy combos for the 2023.
Was this Wendy's?
It's going to be a very...
Combos?
Yeah, the Wendy's spicy combos. They're trying out a lot of spicy combos.
I think there's, 6 new driver pairings, right? I believe.
Yeah, which is the most in a very long time we've seen. And
I can't wait for Sugma Balls, mate, the partnership.
I cannot wait for that too. The most unsportive driver, Sugma Balls, mate. And then at Mike Crack, we're gonna see Mike Crack. We're gonna see best team radios from Alonso, because you know first 2 races might not be it. What the fuck is this green John Deere tractor? What the fuck are we doing here?
But yeah, it can't get much worse for Williams. I think we can finally say they are definitely.
I don't think it's gonna get worse for Williams. I'm more worried about Aston Martin than I am about Williams, because I think that James Vowles knows what he's doing. I don't think the only problem that Williams really suffers is financially, because James Vowles, okay, he might be in the cockpit, but bro, They have no money. They have no money.
James Vowles is in the cockpit.
You know what I mean? He's in the freaking team principal role. That means he's there for like the win, bro. But honestly, they have no money. They have no money. Well, not no money, but they're like. I mean,
Not
even
as
Haas
financially
looks
equipped as.
yeah, Haas looks financially better than them with their MoneyGram sponsor. But you know, Williams. I mean, this isn't the '80s and '90s. They can't just pull sponsors out of like thin air now. I mean, their best sponsor right now is probably Duracell, and that's just like the entire back of the car, which is literally just painted black like a fucking Duracell battery. I mean, they might as well paint the whole car as a Duracell battery to extract more funding at this point. But I don't know. I feel though I can make a solid prediction. I think they're gonna keep that livery, the dark blue. They might add a little bit of light blue, but I feel like they're gonna keep the dark blue livery from last year. I think most teams are gonna keep the dark blue. Not the dark blue. Most of the teams are gonna keep similar liveries. It's just what the car itself is gonna look like. I have heard that Mercedes is gonna stay consistent with their zero side pods, whatever the fuck that is. Which I'm not too fond of that. I mean, it looks but that thing looks like a fucking jellyfish floating at the bottom of the ocean, you know? And I don't know. It's like the structure of the car just looks like a fucking jellyfish floating at the bottom of the ocean. The zero side pods. I like how the Ferrari looks with the side pods all like.
Of course, you like how the fucking Ferrari looks.
No shit, cause I'm repping them, bro. No shit. Anyway, I do think that the externally and color-wise, Aston Martin have been rumored to have, I think, a lighter shade of green, a way lighter shade of green, either lighter, 20% lighter, or 20% dark. I don't remember which one it was, but that definitely the outside's definitely going to look a lot different. And I think that's about all the news that I have at the moment. So
that's good, but yeah, I think back to the Williams point real quick. I think they're finally heading in the right direction. And I think, although George Russell was definitely their best driver so far, it was destined for him to be into Mercedes. And now that I think they have two drivers who are relatively comfortable where they are, like they're not really trying to go somewhere. I mean, they might be trying to go somewhere else, but they're rooted at.
No, I don't know. They're not going to go at the moment. I mean, Albon's not looking to go at the moment.
Could say.
Yeah.
So, I think they're heading in the right direction. I think they have a really nice project on their hands. A hard one to complete, but definitely a project to look forward to. And yeah, I'm looking forward for this F1 season, man. I can't wait for Drive to Survive to come out. And yeah, F1 testing in around 4 weeks time, and before I know it, season's here.
Looking to see Nicholas Latifi being the 2023 World Drivers' Champion. Mick Schumacher's gonna be runner-up.
Yeah, and then Mazepin's gonna be the FIA director, right? The racer.
That's gonna be funny to see. That's gonna be seriously funny to see.
At least he would spin the flag more than fucking Tim Cook.
Yeah, no, that was embarrassing. If they ever invite some kind of old fucking degenerate shit one more time.
Bro
didn't even go this. Let me show you what bro did. Hold on. Bro literally did this. I mean, bro, if I go to a nursing home and I find like an 80-year-old freaking war vet, I mean, bro, he'll wave the flag better than Tim Cook did. Come on. What the fuck are we doing here, you know? What a stupid action. Yeah, that was a seriously stupid action.
Be sure to check out my personal channel, which I'll leave in the description below. There will be footage from some racing that me and Bryan did over the weekend, and he might leave some on his main channel as well. But until then, guys, I will catch you all later. Take care and peace, everybody.